Hey folks, welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I am doing another video topic on Bo Polnys, and this one I think is even more important than anything else because of the signs and symbolism that I'm seeing in everything that is going on. And you know, folks, I've kind of detracted away from talking about the wealth transfer, here just for a little bit. And I believe that we're just now sitting in a waiting period. So I'm not really too concerned, and neither you guys should be concerned. You should just be prayerful and keep doing what you're doing as far as what your plan is, what God has shown you for the wealth transfer. On the topic of Bo Polnys and the wealth transfer that he talks about, and I've mentioned this multiple times, that the wealth transfer that they are talking about is not the same wealth transfer that we are talking about. Okay, and they are pushing you towards a wealth transfer that is nothing like the one that we know. Okay, and I'm sorry to say this, and I think that I'm going to go a little bit further in because of what I'm seeing. Now, I am currently on his site, on his YouTube page. Let me share with you what I'm seeing. On this video, it says, Polnys, who predicted FTX Bitcoin crash, now predicts ... So I went to go listen to the video because it says here he predicted FTX. Now, the only person that I know that predicted FTX was BitBoy. All right, that's the only person that was saying concerns for like a week or two, maybe even a month or so before it actually happened. Now, I don't see any videos at all whatsoever. Let's see, FTX. Let's go ahead and bring it up to see if he says where he made that prediction. Okay, nothing in the titles at all whatsoever. If anything says FTX, it's going to come up as some of the first hits. So there is no other FTX mentioned in here. So I was like, well, where did that come from? Because if he knew that FTX was going to crash, then I'm pretty sure he would have did a video and he would have told everybody to get out of FTX, right? But we're going to go ahead and listen to what he is going to say exactly about that. All right, then, I'm not even going to play the video because I think that there's just something here going on. He has the 5-pointed star, and he's got himself, Robin Bullock, Kent Christmas, and Amanda Grace all in the corner, right? 5-pointed star, and in the middle is supposed to be some demonic entity. Now, I may see this differently than what you see. All right, so look at it. Right now, I've showed you failed prophecies from Kent Christmas. I've showed you failed prophecies from Robin Bullock. I've showed you guys failed prophecies from Amanda Grace. Now, Bo Polnys doesn't claim to be a prophet, but he does act like he is a prophet. He does repeat everything that the prophets are saying. So he is like a mouthpiece for the prophets. And he has this 5-pointed star with this demonic entity in the middle of the 5-pointed star. That, folks, is not right. I'm just telling you, you may not see it, but I'm sharing with you guys that the great delusion, when people talk about that, people always think that it's UFOs, or dealing with aliens. And you guys have no idea that the evil ones do not have to do that in order to deceive the masses. In the Bible, it says that, he said, if they could, they would even deceive the very elect. Most of you do not pay attention to many of these people's prophecies. You only hear the good ones. You only hear the short versions, right? You only hear the snapshots. But I want to get back to this video here because that right there, what I'm seeing is just absolutely insane. And it's like I can't even look at it anymore. It makes me feel eerie and weird. So I did make my comment on this video. And I said, dealing with the first one, I said, when did you say FTX was going to crash? Because you're confusing people and making people think you said FTX was going to crash. I see no info, you saying FTX was going to crash. So no response. So let's go ahead and listen to what he is saying about him predicting this FTX crash.
And stated the same thing about a wealth transfer that's coming. Robin Bullock, Ken Christmas, Julie Green, the list goes on and on. They've spoken about a great wealth transfer that's coming.
Well, the first thing is he's mentioning all these confirmations from all the people that I've been sharing with you that they're getting all their dated prophecies completely wrong. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. I could sit here literally and make an entire YouTube channel dedicated and having videos come out daily. If I was just to go back a couple years and start going over prophecies from Julie Green and Robin Bullock and Kent Christmas, and folks, you guys would be overwhelmed. And I don't have to do that because there's so many people that are already doing it now. It would be redundant for me to do it. But I could do a very good job in doing that if I really wanted to. So let's get to the cycle that he said that he predicted FTX crash.
Forward. So it's really exciting in my heart because I know this is what's coming. So it was a really exciting thing to give that to my subscribers, and I hope they really all enjoyed that. The cycle that predicted the FTX crash has another very important point this month. And so there's a very big date coming up potentially this month in January, as important as the FTX crash was on.
Okay, folks, I'm going to share something with you. You just heard him say it was the cycle that predicted the FTX crash, right? Now, there's a lot of people on YouTube that talk about Bitcoin in the markets, and there's all types of predictions that go out all throughout the month, right? Every month. There are literally different types of cycles, and he's claiming that he predicted the cycle that predicted the FTX crash, right? He didn't actually say that he predicted FTX. He said he predicted the cycle. That's a big difference because you're telling your users, Pony, who predicted FTX Bitcoin crash. So he just messed with your words there. So everybody who sees it, oh my gosh, he predicted the FTX crash, right? But you know what? Nobody's looking for the video. He's not showing in this video here where he said that. So you have no idea. So these are the types of things that I am seeing, not just with him, but other people, how they manipulate words in order to get you to believe that they are predicting these things. Okay, so I'm on another video that came out on November the 17th. This was just after the FTX collapse. All right, now keep in mind, he said in the other video on his title that he predicted the FTX crash. This video here says they have the slide up, and this is supposed to be from his newsletter, right? Now keep in mind, I've been sharing with you guys different people who look at cycles, patterns, the charts, and what the charts were saying, support lines and all that stuff. Could Bitcoin suddenly break down below the 19,000 support line and crash into November the 7th, 8th? It could, right? You don't see the rest, right? If it broke the support line, right? And so when you get into stocks and trading stocks, there's a lot of predictions that are made. Just like I shared with you guys, Sir Lewis saw the Bitcoin bottom for the year 2022, and he called it out. And so let's go ahead and listen to what he actually says that contradicts his title in his video.
To Switzerland, and that was right at that time point. So I'm at the airport writing the update saying, it's just how fun it was to watch this because all of the subscribers, we were waiting for the crash, and it happened on the exact day that we were that the cycle forecast. So the cool thing is, when you know the cycles and a market crash happens like that, there's nothing to worry about because it's part of the cycle, right? And like I write in my newsletter, the cycles precede events. So we knew there was a crash coming. We didn't know what was going to happen. And then when the crash happens, you find out what the events were, like you just mentioned, the events that caused the crash.
He gets one prediction from reading the charts right, and all of a sudden, it's like he's a prophet. It's just like Ron Walker, who all the time is looking at the charts, looking down the road of the future, looking in the near future, looking at the next day, is no different from doing that. And just because you get one prediction right, that doesn't mean that you actually get to put in there that you predicted the FTX collapse. Would it have still happened? Would Bitcoin still would have dropped? If it shows in the charts, then it doesn't matter what the event is. The other thing is, too, he has a whole lot of predictions, just like I've made predictions. Some of them are right and some of them are wrong. You had all these predictions and all these cycle predictions for 2021, and you also had a lot of cycle predictions for 2022 that also did not come to pass. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're making a big deal out of the one when there have been so many that you made. And that they're just predictions because he's not claiming to be a prophet. But that's what I'm saying when I feel like that these words are being used that are being twisted to make it seem like you predicted the FTX collapse. No more than anybody else looking at the charts. So you can go back, folks, and you can go look at all the videos. And then using Kim Clement, you touch on the only prophecies that benefit what you're talking about. To me, this just gets uglier and uglier. And just as an example, you type in Bitcoin cycles, right? You can go back over the last month. There are different cycles that people are talking about, okay? So you can go back and you can go look at people who do that. And it's going by the charts. If the charts are showing that it's going to end up a certain way by the end of the month, right, then people are going to be expected, especially if you're a day trader or swing trader, you're going to see a lot of selling off at the end of the month because that's the way that the charts look, right? I'm trying to get you guys to wrap your head around all this stuff because it just seems like it's being all manipulated. And just to prove my point again, he uses Kim Clement, right? But he doesn't talk about the dinar. He doesn't talk about any of the other investments, right? And he doesn't bring up any of the other prophecies that go against what him and his crew are saying. Now, let me share you something from his Rumble account. He just did this video 4 days ago, and he's got the 4 people that we've been discussing. That all their prophecies, their dated prophecies, are not coming to pass. They speak a good game. They can teach about the Bible. They can teach about this, and they can teach about that. But folks, if God was talking to these people, their prophecies would be coming to pass. And there he goes again, the angel of death, 2023. So now it's moved from 2022 to 2023. See, this is how they do. They moved it from 2020 to 2021. Then they moved it from 2021 to 2022. And now they're moving it from 2022 to 2023. Wake up, folks. Now, this is one thing that really bothered me. And Bo doesn't do anything to correct this person. And it's almost like he embellishes in it. And this has to do with what happened in the case of R.V. Wade.
All I know in my heart, I did the right thing, and I informed, those who wanted to listen of what's coming.
Yeah, you do, and your conscience is clean because 2-3 years now you've been coming on this show and telling people, and boy, how many have you gotten right? I mean, talk about you were the only person saying Roe v. Wade would be overturned, and then it was. Even I wasn't sure about that one, and you nailed it.
And so, it's going to be biblical what goes down here. Don't be surprised.
So, the host of the show says that he's the only person for the last 2 to 3 years that has been predicting this. And Bo doesn't correct him. He doesn't say anything to the fact of what other people were saying, even Kim Clement. We all know that Kim Clement talked about the R.V. Wade. And even going back to Mark Taylor, this is an article from June 22nd, 2017. God told firefighter prophet Mark Taylor that DJT will replace 5 justices and change the outcome of R.V. Wade. Right? I have to talk like that for certain reasons. He said, Taylor is a former firefighter who now presents himself as a prophet because he said God told him back in 2011 DJT would become president. And DJT will get to appoint 5 new justices that will lead to the overturning of the case. So there's one thing I do want to point out. Back in 2016, he talked about throughout 2016 about nominating people that's going to overturn that case. See right here in CNBC, October the 19th, I'll appoint justices to overturn R.V. Wade. November, DJT stands by campaign promise to overturn, okay? May 11th, now this is well before he was on TV saying this, Trump says he's the best chance to overturn the case. So what does that tell you, folks? That means he already put it out there. So all these prophets were prophesying after he said all this, right? Because it was a pretty good chance that it was going to happen. You understand about prophesying the news or even taking other people's prophecies? If there's prophets that have already said the thing It's not really a prophecy that God gave to you before anybody else. Is more of a confirmation. And it doesn't make you and it doesn't confirm you anymore as a prophet. Because first of all, the news was already out there. And we already know that Kim Clement and Mark Taylor were talking about it well before all these other prophets that were saying the same thing. And then they go on there, oh, look, my prophecy came to pass. Again, wake up. Folks, do you see what I'm saying? Is they try to manipulate their words and try to put them on a pedestal as if they're making all these correct predictions. You know, Manuel Johnson was trying to claim that people were attributing prophecies to him that really belonged to somebody else. But in actuality, you hang around the same people, you're all on their shows, and you were talking the same thing, and I proved that point. After he made his original prophecy of DJT, he was going around in all these different shows talking about Saints Get Ready, all this even on his own channel, you know, and he's hitting the circuit talking about his return of DJT 2022. And then he changes his whole tune as we get closer to the end of the year. And you guys already saw the video that I did previously when he said that DJT would come back in 2022 to be reinstated because that was God's will. Remember that. Now listen.
We're going to go dark, and when the lights come on, worldwide celebrations are coming. We are going to see the return this year. 45 comes back, not by his will, but by God's will. God's will shall be done.
You could talk about somebody, you could show them, and they'll go right up and start subscribing and start watching and start believing and start posting their stuff, even after you show them. This is why they keep surviving. This is why false prophets never die, because you keep them alive. People keep them alive. But you know, if that's what you want, then you're going to reap their rewards. And it's not all going to be financial. So the wealth transfer that we talk about is different from the wealth transfer that they talk about. And if you want to, if you can't see through the symbolism right here, you cannot be helped. I'm sorry.